Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel, part 9 of the refit build-up. Tonight I'm just going to kind of take you through and show you what's been going on since the last time you saw me. What I've done is I've gone through and put my base coat on now. It's ready to go. And I've used, there was a little bit of a gap right here where you put the wall meets the lower bulkhead, and what I did is I went through and I used this Vallejo plastic putty, and this stuff has a real nice small tip here where you can get into the creases real nice. And so that's what I did, is I got rid of that extra gap in there, even though I went through and light blocked and sealed and glued, and I put pressure on the inside to where it would glue down real well. So I did that, let it sit, and kind of sanded it off, and it closed up the gap real well, and I'm real pleased with that. And so once I did that, I went through and re-scribed my lines here, because it had a little bit of gunk in each line. So I used this scribing tool here made by Tamiya, and it real good tool. You can pick this up at your local hobby town, your local hobby store, and it's got a real nice blade where you can get in there real nice and get, make your lines nice and neat. And it's got a real nice curvature to it. Comes with a spare blade. I like this a lot. It cost me probably 12 bucks but it's come in real handy, and I'm pleased with the way this is turning out. And I went through on the bottom and excuse me, and went through and re-scribed all the lines, panel lines and everything, to give you a nice crisp detail. So I went through and light blocked it, and got all my lighting installed for my sidewalls, for the interior lighting, and got my floodlights for the outer pylons. And if you remember, we had to go through there and kind of redirect the hole, because the hole was kind of pointing out like this, and so in order for to get that proper floodlight effect up on the pylons, I had to re-drill my hole at this angle right here, and I put a 3mm bulb, 3mm LED in there, to where now when it shines, it'll shine out real nice and pretty up onto the pylons. And same thing here on the dorsal area. These weren't really all that bad, but I had to go through there and open up the hole just a little bit to lay my 3mm LEDs down in there, so these will shine up real nice and bright up onto the inside of the pylon. Got all my LED strip tape up here for the shuttle base, so when it's on, these lights will shine down on top into the shuttle bay and give it that nice ambient lighting. So it's coming along together here, and what I've done is I've been working on my shuttle bay floor. I've gotten my pinstripe down. I've been using the orbital dry dock masking. What I did on this is, if you can remember, I had this all spray painted yellow on the underneath, and went back through, and once that dried, I kind of had to do it a little bit backwards here, as I peeled off the outer side of the masking to paint it gray, and I just left the lines here for the landing bay guide. So and then I also went through and put in my sequential lighting landing strip. So and then once that dried, I sealed it with a gloss coat, so where it won't peel off or anything else like that. And I went through and I started laying my started laying my decals on for the shuttle bay floors. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is working on the turbo shafts, the elevators that go right here, and getting them painted and whatnot. So that's what's going on there. And I've been also working on the shuttle bay walls, and I used the if you're wondering what color I used for this, I used the Rust-Oleum brand 2x Ultra Cover Stone Gray, I believe, and sprayed these down. And what I did is I've gone through, before I primed it, I went through and got all my photo etch parts on there, got them glued in. I used canopy glue for the photo etch parts. I found out, and I learned this off of Boyd from Trekworks, that this canopy glue bonds the plastic and this brass real well. So it holds stronger than the regular CA glue or the regular Testors Modelers brand glue. So got all my photo etch parts on there, and then I went back through and used this Mr. Hobby metal primer, and I used a brush and brushed them on, brushed it on the brass and let that sit overnight, and came back and sprayed my primer on, and then I sprayed my base coat down on that. So getting ready to start laying in the decals right here the next day or two, and laying on my photo etch parts for my railing. And what I've done is I went on ahead and did the front wall, and I put on my decals for where the cargo bay, the cargo pods sit, and then I put on my my photo etch frame right there. And let me zoom in to show you this. Make sure I'm in frame here. There we go. These, I will warn you folks that these photo etch parts, if you've never built these before, dealt with these photo etch pieces are very, very sensitive, and they will bend at the slightest touch, bump or drop or whatever will bend the railing on these these smaller parts of the railing real easily. And so what I've done is I used the Testors. I went through and used an adhesion promoter on, I'll kind of tell you what I've done to paint these. I used an adhesion promoter on the photo etch pieces, and then I went through and primed it, or I used my metal primer, and then went back and primed it with the regular primer, and then I used Testors gloss yellow for my railing, and you can see there it turned out real nice. So that's what's going on. That's about what it's going to look like. And then once that dries, I'll let that dry overnight, and then we can start assembling the shuttle bay. And I'm going to do the same thing, clean this off here and here for my railing, and go from there. So that's what's going on there, guys. And real quick, I'll take you through and kind of show you the lighting on the walls for the interior lighting, and show you kind of how nice and bright it is. But you can see there. Ooh, let me back out here. I'm not in frame. Now keep in mind the lights, the lights on the camera is going to overexpose the lighting a little bit, so it's not as bright as what you're seeing on camera. But I've gotten my a row of LED strip tape on either side. I've gotten my LEDs for my pylons, my spotlights there, or the spotlight, floodlight, whatever. And I've gotten my LED in the back here for my lower fantail. There's a clear part that I've got to prime and light block and put on there. I don't know if I'll do that before or after I do the Aztec paneling up underneath, but let me put the top on real quick, the dorsal area, and you can see how nice and bright those lights are. And of course, once I get this all done, I will go through and show you how to put in the canopy. And what I use is, I'm not using the kit glass that comes with the kit, because then you have to worry about masking all these windows off, and worrying about those masks not staying. So when you prime it, and then you know all that, and sanding and all that kind of stuff, and you put your base coat on, there's a chance you can run the masking for this. So what I've done is I just leave those off, and once I get through with the model and I get all my decals and stuff, and after I get it gloss coated, get the top coat and everything, the final step is I'll go through and use canopy glue, and I'll use a syringe and just slowly fill in those holes. And at first it'll have kind of a milky look to it, but once it dries, it'll look just like regular glass. So, and I'll take you through and show you how to do that a little bit later on, but that's going to be just a little bit wild and a little bit down the road. But getting ready to close up the secondary hull here. I've got to get the pylons, get all the wires run for them and get it down in there. Notice that I've also got my strobe light here for the belly strobe there, and so it's coming along, guys. And before, I've got to put my glass in for my arboretum windows, and then I can set my arboretum down in there. And I've got it completely finished up and closed up now. So once we get got my decals on there for that I guess it's that blue sky look, I can set that down in there, and then once that's down, I can slide my shuttle bay right down inside there. And I'm going to just kind of a word of advice, you are going to have to, and I made mention of this in my other videos about this piece right here, you are going to have to cut this piece off, the top half, save it, and then once you get your shuttle bay in there and set down, you can put, use some 15-minute epoxy to glue it back together again, and go from there. But that's the way I do it. I found out it's the easiest way to do it. And I've still got to paint my glass for back here where these red lights are, and then I'm going to tint this with a light gray, these tractor beam emitters, and kind of tint the back side of them with a little bit of a blue. That way it kind of looks real good. And then once that happens, I can slide my shuttle bay in there, and it'll be ready to go. So alright, guys, well, that's it for this segment, and I'm going to be getting ready to putty the bottom half of the saucer and get it ready to go for the Aztecing on it. So but for now, the next time you see me, I'll have the shuttle bay built, and I kind of walk you through that and go from there. So until then, folks, we'll see you around the community. Have a good evening.